As your role as a historian, is this moment, I know the word unprecedented has really been thrown around a lot in this election in the past really 8 years. Does this time in history really remind you of any other time?
Sure. There's never exact parallels in history, but there are certainly what we call family resemblance, just as, children don't look exactly like their parents, but you can see the resemblance. One example is 1968, when the sitting president, who had previously won election in a landslide in 1964, Lyndon Johnson, withdrew during the primary process in March. And then you had this brutal conflict within the Democratic Party, including an assassination, not an attempt, but a successful assassination of Robert F. Kennedy, who was overwhelmingly likely to be the Democratic nominee. You had a big brawl for the Democratic nomination. You had chaos at the convention, and lo and behold, despite a booming economy, the economy of the 1960s, one of the best economies we've had, we got Richard Nixon, who prolonged the Vietnam War for 5 years and almost killed off our democracy. In fact, if the current Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity had been in effect in the 1970s, Nixon would have gotten away scot-free with Watergate, and our democracy would have died 50 years ago, perhaps. So be very wary of, having a divided party, having chaos. The lessons of 1968 are very clear.
So, how do you think the Democratic Party of 2024 then applies those lessons of 1968? Because within the past few weeks, really since that debate, there has been a sharp divide of Democrats who were calling for President Biden to step out, other Democrats who were calling for him to step in or stay in, both factions of the party calling the other ones spineless. I mean, how do they come together, especially with an election in less than 4 months?
Yeah, I was appalled by the spectacle of the Democratic Party trashing their incumbent president right out in the open, and the nominee not by Jamie Raskin or Adam Schiff in Congress, but by the voters of the Democratic Party in the primaries. I had never seen anything like that, and I've studied politics from the founding to the present. Why do I think the Democrats may finally grow a spine and a brain and come together? Sheer political fear. Politics is like Wall Street. It runs on two things: greed and fear.